king of all Shia Muslim, kind of, but in a Islamic words, like a faqih of all Shia people. So that's the core ideology of the Islamic regime. And the other thing is that they always talk about put the Shia nation first, and that's why whatever the income of the country was from selling oil or from whatever it was, the whole budget was going towards the proxies, towards advertising the Islam, towards IRGC, and so on. Nothing for the people of Iran. That's why we've been under the suppression of this regime which occupied our country and hold Iranian people as hostages for 47 years. And now that we have a common interest with the US and Israel, we are with them, we support this one, and when the D-Day comes, we'll come to the streets and we will topple this regime. That's something.
Do you think that as a result of this war, that's likely going to happen?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah. Because to be honest with you, especially Israel, without that happening, first of all, the Islamic regime is wounded. It's going to be worse than before. So they definitely going to go after, even if they were not going after atomic bomb, they will after this. And secondly, they want to finish the job. So it is in their interest because most of the Iranian people, the majority of Iranian people right now want to be friends with the West, want ally with the West, not the enemy of the West. Okay.
I know all that, but
yeah.
How do you think they can actually? So they have guns, the people don't, and they have no problem slaughtering tens of thousands of the Iranian people. How do you stop that from happening?
Well, I believe that that's why I said when the D-Day comes. So at the moment, IRGC, they attacking the military bases, the Basij bases, the IRGC bases, and also they have the air in Iran. So, when the D-Day comes, people with the drones on the sky. That's how I think it's going to happen.
I'm pessimistic.
There's an important point to make here, which is that there was a specific event which occurred over the last few days, which is there were drone strikes with small drones on checkpoints in Iran.
Checkpoints.
Yeah, which means that you can have a kind of a boots on the ground impact without actually having boots on the try and control anything. They're going to get drone strikes, right? So
exactly.
It's going to happen over and over and over again. We're not talking about one of these drones that's high up in the sky, dropping a missile or providing ISR. This is a suicide drone, right?
No,
and that is a profound shift.
That is a profound shift of light on what you're talking about. Just the logistics. The way it's working out is first the so-called the riot police, the barracks or the riot police, the security forces, the repression forces, they have literally obliterated the barracks and their safe houses. So the whole system, they had to, all these security forces had to take refuge in the streets, literally in the they've started putting checkpoints cities. So, also are getting on these checkpoints, but there's a limitation. First, checkpoints are literally checkpoints. Like, I don't know where. Yeah, it's like checkpoints. Whether in US you see immigration checkpoints or driving checkpoints, it's literally like coding off.
And the US and Israel are just setting the stage for them to do their.
The only problem with
hold on. The question is, are the Iranian people ready to do this part?
People know.
The short answer is yes.
It's a good question, and
even in a simple clubhouse room, there's 10 Iranians. There's 3 Iranians attacking 3 Iranians, and then there's 3 Iranians that are sitting back watching them get attacked. And then once they're done getting beat up, they sit back and say, I don't support none of them. I think there's and listen, we have that same problem even in Israel with Jews. But I think you guys have it bigger. There's a big divide. I know, and it's good, yeah, you're right. And so it is going to be bigger, but it's a little concerning. And I think the problem is when people are expressing their concern, it's not because they're against the Iranian people, it's because they're for the Iranian people, that they want it so bad that they're frustrated. And they're like Rich, the guy, of course, he's saying pussies and this and that. He's not against the Iranian people, he's for the Iranian people, but he's like, fuck, I want to see it happen now. So he's frustrated, right? So people are taking it the wrong way, and it's like, you have like the other guy that was in here earlier, Ali, with the long hair. He was against everybody. Everybody was against him. Then there was somebody else. There's just so much divide. But the true question is, if you guys jump away and say, yeah,
look, right. This whole big craig on this opinions. That's one thing. So at the 12th game, or when Israel attacked us, that was right. And also, because of the shock, people. Oh yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah, let's just go. Yeah. Maybe can you go with inactive and then argue with it? Okay. So for the Iranians, it was a surprise. The shock of that, and then the people left the city. So at least Tehran, I can speak for where I come from. So the population literally ran away. This time around is different. They're not leaving Tehran. Not you, BB, but the real BB and Trump have told the population, stay at home, keep put, we'll tell you when to come out. And people are actually following that. So something
Yeah, and also
I'm sorry.
So the Marines that are coming from Japan are known as Jesse's Battalion. Their first battalion, just so you guys know. These individuals are fucking probably one of the most aggressive, dominating Marines that the United States Armed Services.
Just for the room,
hold on.
Is an ex-military. I don't know which division it was. With the Marine. Yeah, so he's an ex-Marine. So when he
What's a Marine on my guy? Put it this way, so the Marines that are en route, a majority of them, I would say at least 80% of them are all combat, have been in combat. So the Marines coming are probably one of the most diabolical Marines that the Iranian military. Why do you think they coming?
That's what I want to know. Professional opinion.
I recall like many of them
About 5,000, I think.
It seems that the car.
Hold on. I'm going to answer real quick. Just so you guys know, ground forces had already been shooting artillery rounds into Iran. The Marine Corps and the Army. If you guys see Rashad talk about artillery, he will go into his tism. But they've been doing this from day one. Ground forces, it's hard to tell, but you never know with Trump. But go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
No, that's no problem.
Shooting artillery into Iran from where? Step.
Well, in Iraq.
No, you're saying from Iraq into Iran. Okay.
Coming from the land.
That's what public information is.
So that shoots my theory, because I thought with taking out the military defenses at the main Iranian oil terminal, where almost 90% of Iranian oil is exported, I thought they want to take that terminal out. It's an island. It's literally an island. So I thought they want to take over that island to stop the Iranian oil exports. But
they're definitely going to do that.
I don't think that's going to work, Alex, because if they do, the regime gonna bomb the island like shits.
Don't say that. If Iran loses that island, the whole 90 million nation is screwed for a long time.
Do you think do you think the regime cares about that?
I've seen so many things from these people. I don't know what is beyond them, but I hope that doesn't happen.
Believe me,
literally.
I know, but their ideology is that they call it like barren land, something like that. Yeah, exactly. So the ideology is that if we are not going to be here, we're going to give you a barren land. So if US take that island and they think that they're going to topple, for sure they're going to bomb.
If they have the capability to shoot.
They do for short ranges. They do. We know that.
You don't think we don't have 18 warthogs that would just basically put it between everyone, those missile launchers? I'm getting 18 warthog. Launch the capability that.
Stephanie, what's the max?
We should call them in. Like if you're dealing with stationary howitzers, I think we should call them in at 10 miles.
So, well, the estimate that's been going around is 5,000.
No.
Yeah, Daniel, to your point, Iranians are not the Iranian whole defense doctrine and everything.
They don't have
the only arsenal, the whole arsenal they have is based on missiles and drones only. So the artillery and stuff is all out. It's all about Iranian missiles and drones. And I think the Strait of Hormuz will.
No, they can't. The only thing they can do is launch drones. Yeah, the only thing they can do is launch drones. The missiles aren't so great for launching at ships because the ships are moving. But the drones are, right? Because you can guide them the whole way. I don't because the regime doesn't have satellite targeting. It's not like you can satellite target it to a ship. They do.
And so, Steffi, I don't know. I'm not a military person, so I'm putting a question to you. Can't missiles attack ships? Because I thought these missiles can kind of change path according to the ship's path or something.
I don't think they have the capability to have. I don't know if Iran has the capability.
Let's just assume that Iranian missiles are up to date.
After 13 days, I don't think they have the capability of the inventory, sir.
Well, after 13 days, the damn Strait of Hormuz is in trouble. I mean, the market is, and that's what we're seeing. I'm telling you, Iranians have nothing. The only thing they have missiles, but
I'm gonna put it this way, Alex. I'm gonna put it for you and then Uncle Sam will come up with some off the wall shit defense and capability.
Yes, missiles can hit commercial ships that are moving with radar guidance, infrared heat tracking, GPS, satellite thermal guidance. There's a bunch of different type of ones. But now, we don't know if Iran has these capabilities, but this is the technology that you can hit moving targets with. How do you think that they...
Lowish green missile, or even a drone, or even a javelin, if they're at distance. I'm just saying, if you're talking about merchant ship, they're built for residential.
That was
just so you know.
That's what I think they're.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Anybody else have questions? I wanted to know your opinion about the Marine. Maybe in someone's deployment, maybe they're relieving the personnel at different bases, from Jordan, from Kuwait. You just don't know. I mean, it's a broad observation that they say Marines, but I'm from Chesapeake Peelers. That's Chesapeake Peelers battalion.
So where are the Marines exactly going? Are they coming on the Iranian borders or going to different bases in the Middle East? I haven't read it. You're the breaking news man.
It's saying 5,000 troops, 5,000 U.S. Marines. And more warships in the Middle East, reports say.
I don't know. I keep on thinking that they want to take over with that Clark Island stuff because they want to because they don't want they can't bomb it because it's a critical infrastructure for future Europe.
I'm just telling you, if they're coming, from what I read on the report, they're coming from Japan. That's where Chelsea's. That's usually the 1 through 8 come from, and those are some of the baddest motherfuckers. So God forbid, they might be years, but whoever the opposition is, you better hope your Call of Duty training fucking Pacific.
Just for your FYI, so the Iraqi border with so when they come to turn this into the Gulf or the borders of Iran where the island is, where the terminal is, all the way up to the Kurdistan region. So it's a pretty large border. So it depends if they want to go the land border or they want to go all the way down and enter from the the sea border. So it's up to them. So the options are limited.
The United States limited on how they're going to deploy, or if they choose to deploy. We gotta realize, we don't need beaches. We don't need, solid terrain. We adapt, we overcome, and I can't tell you how they're gonna do it. If they're gonna do it, I'm just gonna tell you, freaking, if that decision is to be made, it's gonna be dilated very precisely, and if it happens, if like I said, if the Iranian military think they're playing Call of Duty, they better. They better learn something real quick. Go watch John Wick movies, for whatever they got to do. But,
what I really meant is when you pinpointed Iraq as a destination or whatever, Iraq could be the Iranian land borders, could be Iranian waters. So what?
Marines specialize as amphibian. The Marine Corps also has specialized in paratroops as well. It's the Army.
Good. I was just trying to explain that both options are open whether they want to go upland for whatever mission.
America makes. Let you know. I'm trying to learn you something, Alex. When it comes to campaigning and warfare, America, if they see a problem, no matter the landmass, no matter the mountain ranges. I mean, I remember before Afghanistan, CNN, some news personnel, Fox News, C-SPAN, freaking, Washington Post, they said, the Afghanistan mountains would cause issues with logistics, and yet we own that fucking state, that country, all the way up till I'm not trying to sound like egotistic. I'm not trying to, who has a bigger dick in the game. I'm not. I'm just saying, based on what you're asking me. Okay, cool. What you're asking me is what I'm trying to tell you is when it comes to options and choices, the military will overcome and adapt and execute in the best formalities and best documented way.
I can't emphasize enough. I fully believe you because I think America has one of the most professional and militaries.
Yeah, wait, I'm gonna bring.
That's it, but I would say that's only the case if he actually had the IRGC overthrown.
Well, so this is where I have questions, because we're basically 10 days into this thing. Like I think that some of these expectations are unrealistic. But the follow to that, Pepe, is, since he came down the elevator, 2016, he said Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. Now maybe there were certain, concepts that were say that, right? So I do wonder, right, if some of that is just wishful thinking, because that's been the discussion in the movement about what he may have meant by it, but not what he necessarily actually said.
I would say so. This is where, first of all, he's done a horrible job. What everybody's talking about is, at first it was why did you decide to attack Iran when you did? So the first two people that got it were, of course, Marco Rubio, which obviously he's going to have the intimate details. And he said, oh, well, they were going to strike first, and then, well, you don't want, they're going to end up responding by attacking, military assets in the Middle East. And, I guess that kind of, they decided they would join Israel for that reason. Senator Mike Johnson ended up saying the same thing, or Congressman Mike Johnson, excuse me. Then you had, we gave the same timeline. It was like, well, it didn't seem like a lot of people were on board, but it was.
Well, let's stop right there and deal with that specific suggestion. So the specific suggestion with what you said is that Israel dragged America into the war, it's a particular narrative which has been present for quite a while. Well, hold on. So in every single previous engagement that had to do with Israel, right, directly, the Americans have never participated. They've only acted in a defense capacity, right? So the argument that the Americans had to go and participate, but I don't know that that's true. That first of all, I can tell you for a fact, definitively, that no matter what, the Israelis were absolutely going to attack the regime, rebuild and rebuild, right? This is the way Islamists think, okay? If you haven't removed them from power, right, they are going to continue doing what they've always done, and they are crazy. And if you look at, what I mean by crazy is, you look at Mosul, when you look at the cities in Syria, and what the fights with ISIS were like, everything was destroyed. Everything. There's nothing left, right? And that's not because, people weren't targeting these guys. It's because they force you into a position where you have to destroy all of the stuff that they have. Now, in a country as large as Iran, right? I don't predict that that's what's going to happen, but that is the nature of the way they think, and they will force you to extract a very, very high price. They will. We have video literally today of what looks like, extremely religious guys from Iran landing in Toronto, which means maybe some of them are fleeing. I'm sure that that's happening. I mean, not in totality, but I think, look, I'm quite skeptical of the claim that the U.S. had to get involved.
Yeah, Daniel.
And I would like to.
That's not
video.
That's not my claim. No, it's not one video. It's many. You can look at you can read the New York Times.
Can you guys keep it to a minute and a half, because I got ADHD and a lot of people got short attention spans. But thank you.
Yeah, sure. And Washington Post all pretty much had the same details. Now, there is zero evidence that they were anywhere close to being able to produce a nuclear weapon anytime soon.
Right. So
that
this
would
is,
cause us to have to, they pose.
yeah, this is the same. Yeah, this is one of the other parts of the narrative that I dispute, which is there is this connotation of related to what is an imminent threat. If you have a nuclear threshold state, and they are
U.S.
No. I'm sorry. I disagree. They get up in the morning and they say death to Israel and death to America. They are serious. You want to wait until it's more.
No, from what they want us to know and what they actually know.
They did not. They were at this time. They were not close to having to build a nuclear bomb.
I have about as much faith in the New York Times as I do toilet paper. To stay together in one piece.
Daniel, I hate to interject. The reality is Iran was not close to building the nuclear bombs. Definitely had the intention.
They had the ambition in the long run.
Look, let me add something to your argument, because both of you guys are missing a huge point. So this was their basically plan, Islamic Republic plan. They were kind of like okay with that deal. Countries will be like, okay, let's talk. So you know what I mean? Like they could basically stop the invasion, like an invasion doing right now, whatever it is, attack. But now they cannot. They were playing the long game to be able to stop it, but now we realize that they couldn't do it.
Ocean, I want to add to it. So Iran wanted to become nuclear ready, meaning that they never kind of crossed the threshold, but they just wanted to have all these bits and pieces ready, that if they want to ever cross that threshold to make that nuclear bomb, they could do it within 6 months. And that's what they were gathering all the pieces for it.
Yeah, so when you say there was no time, it doesn't mean they were tomorrow they would have made the nuclear weapon. But
No, guys. It was the problem of making the delivery system.
No, it was also with the.
I know, but they were
they don't have uranium nearly rich enough. The best they could do is make a very crude, dirty bomb, but that's not like a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, maybe it is a lot more complex than that. First, so we see the level of uranium which goes into a nuclear bomb is 90% plus. Uranium is never kind of past the 60%. Not that they couldn't.
Well, it's because their scientists kept getting their heads blown off.
But they kept everything intact. Then the whole delivery system, Pepe is absolutely right. And so, in order to make a delivery system, to actually test it, and it actually works, these things take time. But Iranians wanted to make sure that they have all the ingredients for when they want to put everything together. And at the present, when they the board in a way that they have everything ready for the final decision is made. But even when the final decision is made, it takes anything to 6 months to 1 year to get the final product.
Look, there's something really important here that people are overlooking. Okay, and that is the additional risk of nuclear proliferation. Right, Pakistan, got nuclear weapons in response to India getting nuclear weapons. They did so by stealing technology from Norway, and they had Chinese support. Okay, and then the Pakistanis then did the same and gave it to North Korea. Not completely, but with significant support. Then the North Koreans then passed that technology along to Syria. Right, they were building a nuclear reactor in Syria, which was destroyed by Israel.
People on stage as well, guys. There's new people on stage as well. There's Kevin, there's Sarah, there's
we can talk about Israel got nuclear weapons, but there's a significant difference, okay, between the powers that I was just talking about in Israel. You can think that there isn't. There's a huge difference.
Okay, hold on one second. We need to hear some new voices, please.
Okay, I'm landing my plane in just a second.
Just not into a side of a building.
All right. So if you think that the Iranians aren't going to engage in that similar level of nuclear proliferation, each time this happens, this is a huge changing of the geopolitical chessboard, which presents huge risk. North Koreans, are our enemies. I mean, we think they just want to be left alone. They do not want to be left alone. They are involved in all kinds of shit all over the place, which is not in American interests.
Please, I want to share the floor to the new people.
In the end, the point is, I think this is critical. You cannot let this stuff go on too long, right? Because the threat is just so high, and you are sending, albeit at great significant expense, a very important message that if a state like this develops this kind of technology, you will lose everything, and that's the key point.
Okay, Tara. Again, I can't pronounce the other lady's name.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, you got the mic and then the other young lady next, and then we'll go to Mr. after that. Go ahead. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Kevin.
But I just want to say, as an Iranian, we needed that war, not just for us, for everyone in the world. And I don't know what are you thinking exactly as an American, but we like. That's why, like I'm saying, they don't need to exist. Like not just for us, for everyone, for Europe, for US. You see, like I used to live in Ukraine. They attacked Ukraine as well. So I don't think they're like good, and we know it for 47 years. So we needed that war, not just for us, for everyone in the world. So to stay safe and stay like in a peace.
Okay, thank you so much, Antipo Blue. Apathia. How are you? How do you say it?
Hypatia.
Hypatia. Damn. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you so much. I just want to preface by saying that I'm 100% like against the use of the public utterance employer in the slightest. But I think when it comes to something like the IRGC, you're going to need more than airstrikes to take it out. I really do believe that revolution itself.
So if you could lift a magic wand right now and have every person that's against the IGC go to the streets and take over, would you? Regardless on if it would, now you have to, now that you have that power of the magic wand, you're now going to be responsible for deaths, casualties on both sides. Are you going to take that risk for a better tomorrow?
Casualties now with
Exactly. No, I agree. I'm just asking you difficult questions. For a better tomorrow, would you make that? Would you lift that wand and say, go to the streets and do what you have to do to take back Iran?
Yes. I think martyrdom for your country is the most it's the best thing that anyone can do for their country, to die for
So you said martyrdom. Are you Muslim?
No, I'm not. But it is martyrdom. Martyrdom is not a Muslim thing.
I don't know. It's just. Thanks for coming. Enjoy the hors d'oeuvres in the audience. But no, ladies, thank you. I want to know if you guys have anything else. Anybody want to engage, like Alex, New York, Rafi, Stampy, Harry, Sherry, Pepe, Olivia, Mr. Daniel, because you have like all kinds of the coin here. Like she kind of believes in what I believe in, like that there needs to be action.
I'm bored schooling these fucking Assyrian Persians.
There's a chat. Like, what the fuck, bro?
Come on, bro.
You've been battling in the chat for 2 hours.
I just kind of, what am I gonna do, bro?
Okay, you heard what the young lady said. What's your opinion?
I literally did not hear.
Okay. Do you want to read it again? Oh my god.
Yeah, I could be a bigger dick than you. Tower, you use that joke now.
Do you think you're so clever? Do you think that you're so smart?
I think I'm smarter than everybody in this room, yes.
Yeah, let me tell you, your IQ is less than a P, okay? Just go with it.
Amazing.
What do you think smarts is judged on, Galubi?
The ability to maintain efficient induction and deduction throughout a coherent discord.
Are you able to talk your way out of a guy having a gun to your head?
It depends on the guy, man. You gotta paint more. You gotta give me more context. How close is the gun? Where's the guy? Is he a white guy? Is he a black guy? Is he a white guy? Is he a black guy? Is he a Mexican? What kind of guy?
He's half black, half Mexican. I think you
Usually these things, they want your wallet, they want your shit to store your wallet in the furthest away you can. Like, he's gonna have to make a decision at that moment. Either he really wants to kill you, or he really wants the money. Which one does he want? That's how you do that.
He wants the money. But regardless, I think we've heard some really.
That's why you throw it the furthest. You want to throw it, if it's an alley, you want to throw it into the street. He's gonna expose himself. But either way, you go down, he doesn't get what he wants. He doesn't take you out, he goes after the money, you're still alive.
So I was trying to say we've heard some pretty.
So your question?
You can throw a wallet pretty far, man. You ever thrown a baseball, you can throw a wallet.
This feels off topic.
Question that you have.
Okay, so my question is for you. Okay, and if you feel uncomfortable answering the question, don't answer. Do you have family in Iran?
Yeah, my mom is in Tehran.
Okay, if I may ask you, you've been in touch, I assume, relatively, often, although maybe not as much recently. When you think about, what people are prepared to do, right? It's obviously the regime's been incredibly brutal with the people, killing so many people, right? But if the Israelis and the Americans clear the way and really really prevent the regime from being able to execute what it wants to execute, do you think the people will rise up again?
Let me tell you how's this situation, but it's like example, even 10 million people. It's better to like kill 10 people because like if they will not kill, if they will not change this regime in like less than 1 year, they will kill 10 people, like our regime. It's like something that we saw in just 2 days. They killed 32,000 people, and it's true. It's not a lie because my friend in Tehran, they went to the street. Like some of our friends, they are not anymore with us, and I think like what they are saying in Iran, and my friends, they are saying that if they will kill all like top people in regime, if they will kill and they will skin Twitter places, they will say, okay, now it's the time, go out and take your country back. For sure they will go. And for sure there's a people who like IRGC because like they have family.
Just, the regime that is willing to kill, right? The people who support that kind of regime are also willing to kill. And I mean, this is what we've seen in other places where that's the case, where you have, ISIS and things like that. The people who support ISIS are willing to kill, right? And there isn't so much daylight between the regime and the followers, right? In terms of what they're capable of doing. And do you think that there's going to be a counter uprising, right, of the people who support the regime? And it was always clear to me that there might be, the potential for revenge killings, right? That the people who've been oppressed would engage in revenge killings on the portion of the population that has oppressed them. But do you think that those that support the regime
Think about it. But there is Iranian here. You can ask from them. Like Kevin is Iranian. Also, one other I saw, but it's not here. You can ask from Kevin, but I have no idea about this question.
Yeah, can I take that question? Yeah. Okay. So Daniel, was it you who asked the question?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
first of all, I have my brother and my sister, and also my parents. They are all still in Iran. They live there, and I'm in touch with them for almost every day. And I have many friends over there as well because I just left like a couple of years, 2 years ago, to be honest with you. So I know how the situation is in there, and even during the Mahsa Amini, my wife and I, both of us were in the streets at that time. So we are aware of the situation and how brutal the IRGC and the regime is with the protests. big guns. So that's why they are ruling. They have the power. They have they have the missiles. They have the guns, and that's the only reason that they are ruling. But if this power get balanced, which is I believe right now, then people can come to the streets and also take over them. After they take them down, actually, the thing is that most of them, the supporter of the regimes, they are being brainwashed by the Iranian television, Iranian state TV. Okay, and they don't either have access to they either don't have access to the free internet and free world, free media. They find out about the reality and the things that the regime did during these 48 years. I'm sure there is going to be a huge drop from their supporter as well. So that's the thing. But to answer your question, if there is going to be an uprising after that, I don't think so. But we need to take out the IRGC. If you take out the IRGC, then I don't think there will be an uprising because majority of people are supporting the regime change.
Let me tell you one thing, Daniel. I'm also Iranian. Because I've been around these people. I lived there for 25 years. Just left 10 years ago. I've been around them. When we talk about IRGC members or Islamic Republic, majority they're not like ISIS. They're not in that level yet. They would be like in a couple of decades probably if they keep being in power. But they're not as insane as you think they are. Like they won't just grab someone and cut their head off and shit like that. You know what I mean? So they're not as radical as you think they are. Because a lot of them are being lied to. And exactly. A lot of them are not even sharing the same ideology. A lot of them are after the money because of the corrupt system. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that's makes them kind of like different than when you bring up ISIS, Al Qaeda, or Hezbollah and all that shit. And also a lot of the shit they do inside Iran, they bring all them Houthis and Hashashabi and whatever groups that they have to do those things to the Iranians when they're
we are 19 million people. We are 19 million people. I want to say all of these IRGC and killing other peoples because their ideology is very dangerous.
Sorry. Just to say that I'm kind of agreeing with Ocean here. I believe that most of
how could you close your eyes?
No,
I'm not closing my eyes. I'm not saying no. Let me finish.
Hey guys, don't speak when I'm talking. I'm gonna shut up now. But I'm just saying, when Khomeini died, okay, 10 million of Iranians went to his funeral. You cannot deny.
You're missing the point. me what I have to say.
It's disgusting because I'm a woman.
Okay, let me say what I
To
have.
think that I'm a woman
Oh
is
my God.
no.
You are being emotional for the fact that you're not letting me to
No,
land
you
this
don't.
point.
You wanna.
Oh my
You
God.
wanna.
You
You
keep
wanna
saying
cover
no.
the truth. You
There
wanna
is
cover
a
the
country.
truth that
Oh my God.
we have
You
a
see,
barbarians between us.
You're not
We have
being
a
a rational
barbarian.
person right now.
Who are she a Muslim?
Okay,
We
you're
have
not
a
being a rational
barbarian
person
between
right
us.
now.
Okay.
You're landing your point. You're landing your point. Let me say something. You're talking about a country of 90 million people. Let's say bare minimum 10% support the goddamn stupid ass regime, which is 9 million people. By your ideology. But no, it did not touch you at all. It did not touch you at all. Somebody else did. Okay, can you let me say what I have? A lot of them are brainwashed. A lot of them are piece of shit fucking.
So wait, are you trying to say that? So to the woman, are you trying to say that like we look at a lot of the like really hardline Islamists?
Whoever supporting even mullahs.
Hold on.
They are
Everybody say.
When it comes to the most hardline Islamists, generally they would consider what like was it the Salafi or Sufis, the Wahhabis, basically the fucking Sunnis. Like that's always been a huge distinction between the Persians in general and the Arab population. Where for example, I can tell a Persian, "Oh, you have a lovely daughter." I would never say that to a fucking Arab. It's just very.
No daughter for you.
Huh?
No daughters for you.
Yeah. But it's just like throughout the world, it's Sunni Islamists that are basically the ones that do shit like ISIS. We can look at Al Qaeda. We can look at in the Philippines. We can look at Boko Haram.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not that people. They're horrible and their ideology is horrible. But it's not as radical as we think they are. They show it that way. That's the way they show it.
Yeah.
Because Iranians are not violent people. Like Iranians in general are not that violent that you think they are. They can be.
With more violent, or Israeli. One second, moderator. Who is more violent?
Iranians. I'm Iranian here. I just say those ones who support these mullahs and IRGC, they are all barbarians, including Hashatul Shabi, and Afghanistani and all.
Are you Iranian? No, Ocean, are you Iranian?
Man, they're all Iranian.
Ocean,
Not
are you?
Arabs. They're not from Mars. They're
Ocean, are you Iranian?
bullshit for their ideology and money.
I think Ocean has the book.
Yeah,
I think Ocean has the book.
lived there for 25 years.
Ocean, you're in the Matrix. So maybe perhaps when you get out of the Matrix, you can maybe answer his question, because I think he asked a very, very, very simple question.
Okay, let me ask a slight question.
Daniel question.
Yeah, let me ask a slightly question. When you think about, let's say the regime has somewhere between 10 and 20 million supporters. Okay, of the 10 and 20 million supporters, how many of them are as fanatical and dangerous?
Ocean is trying to say that from the Iranian point of view or a non-Iranian point of view.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Relax. Can we Israeli people are violent or Iranian people are violent in nature?
This is not the issue. I think, and the reason I kind of put that question to Ocean was, I
personally, now, buddy.
Yeah, I think he's back, Alex.
Yeah, I'm Iranian, bro. Yes, I'm Iranian.
Okay, so
I-
Ocean is trying to express a point which is true. I just wanted to confirm that or deny, but that's why I was asking Ocean, is it kind of reflecting the Iranian point of view or non-Iranian point of view?
Sorry, Alex, can I take that question? Because
What I meant was, for non-Iranian point of view, they see them as radical group of people, just like Al Qaeda. They will pay people to do certain shit like that, but Iranian themselves are not that wild or I mean, they could be radical in their ideology, but when it comes to action that way,
No, you're correct, dude. This was something that was known even over a decade ago. For example, when ISIS, like in Lebanon, even the Sunnis there were saying like, which obviously did not really care for Hezbollah, but when it came to ISIS, they were saying like, oh my God, these people are fucking demonic, and you don't really like even with Hezbollah. Yes, they do terrorist attacks. I get all that. But do they do ISIS style executions and just go around raping and pillaging in the way that ISIS would?
No,
absolutely not.
I think there's a wider point.
Yes, that's what happened on those January 8th and 9th. Can I just tell my experience about those? Prior to that, they did the same. What happened? I was in contact inside Iran those 10 days prior, 2 days. So January 8th, I managed to talk inside Iran for probably less than 30 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. My nephew is there. So the people of Iran, mostly those protesters who have been killed, but millions get out and tens of thousands got killed. Mentally, they reach the point to sacrifice their life. That is what truly happens. I know it's a little bit hard to understand for us, even me. I lived 30 years in Iran and 20 years abroad. But that was exactly what happens. So when they shut down the internet and the blackout in every way, those 2 days, please keep in mind, first day, January 8th, they killed tens of thousands across the whole country. Despite that, I talked inside the we can believe, yes, they will rise up again because they are looking. Let's say I am in a town, I am watching one street far from me, and I know where these guys are, where the motorcycles came out. And I see Israel is targeting or US is targeting them. And I'm getting happy and I'm getting more ready and more ready. Trust me. The bloodshed on those 2 days was, the magnitude was, I even sometimes compare it to Holocaust. Trust me, because 20,000, let's say, on each day, if they would continue for 10 days, it would be like 200,000 people every day. The bloodshed that they witnessed was too much. Thank you.
Okay, so can I just get
Can I just interfere for a second?
I wanna leave, so I just wanna make a point.
Just let me just set this room because I seem to also agree with Ocean question in this room, and I just want to clarify the motives. Iranian motives are not religious or ideological. I understand it might be a very, very kind of a minority which might be that religious to do that, but that's like in every country you have cults and stuff and everything.
These are basically regime, like what do you call it? Like they're the thugs of the regime.
They're thugs, and Iranians, unfortunately, one of the is the self-centeredness, and for the same reason, for our own benefit, we are willing to commit so much crimes, and that's what we are witnessing. On the same token, I'm not condoning that. That's one of the reasons I don't have any problems. If the regime changes to
I lived in Iran for 40 years, and also during Mahsa movement, I was in the streets and I actually talked to the guards as well. So the thing is that when you're talking about the core ideologic moron that are within IRGC and they would do whatever, for example, ISIS do or whatever, those you have those images. I'm not saying there are none. Obviously, there are, because the people who opened fire on our people in a couple of months ago, they didn't come from Mars. They were Iranian as well. Between them, they opened widely fire to the Iranian protesters, so they killed them. So obviously, there is among them.
What you do, the more they kill, they become more violent.
But those people, those are the ones that has to do.
One thing to use an ideology to justify yourself, and that's the way the Iranians use it. So they commit crimes for their own benefit, and they justify it okay, well.
Alex, you have to accept that there is also brainwashed people between them.
You guys also have to accept that Alex is being vulnerable and very, very forthcoming and telling the truth, which I respect a lot. No, honestly.
Yeah, but
a lot of people lie because they're afraid to say certain things, but Alex is being honest.
Yeah, the brainwash is something which continues.
Yeah,
but Iranians are, unfortunately, we always like to justify our own actions by some means. So the way we do it, if we have the benefit of doing that, ideological people who actually just believe in ideology and they just do it for the ideology. For us, it's a justification. So yes, there are people Iranians who commit these hideous crimes or heinous crimes and justify it under the guise of it. Well, it's even justified, so these people were bad people or they're against Islam, so I can do that. But that doesn't mean it's a very kind of a nuanced thing with Iranians.
That's where I wasn't gonna land over there,
Just let me finish.
Yeah, sure.
You have to look at the actions over time. When you believe in ideology, you go all the way. The people who do Al Qaeda, they come outside the country, so they go to some other country, they still believe in that ideology, they still adhere to it. for Iranians. Killing by the name of Islam in Iran. Tomorrow when the regime changes, or for example, they find themselves, for whatever reason, in a different country, they would not follow that. They basically go back, okay, Euro's my benefit here is to do this now. And that's the biggest distinction with the Iranians, because they're not ideologically driven, but they're really self-centered driven, and they justify anything they do by any means. And that's the unfortunate flaw of our culture, but it is very true. For the same token, I don't believe that, for example, if tomorrow the Islamic government is gone, I don't see all these people up in arms going against the nation and
I agree with you.
I want to defend Islam.
I
We're
agree
going
with
to
you.
see that kind of ideological war. What you're going to see is they're going to change
What
this
you
life.
Alex, I totally agree with you. Sorry, Kevin. I totally agree with you, and that's where I was going.
Is you're saying it's 1%. I have to say, though I am an outsider, a little bit skeptical that the number is that low. But okay. And then the question is, let's say the regime falls. We see a pattern of behavior all over. A city, one city in Iran, starts declaring itself liberated from the regime, right? And then, they raise the right, the line in the sun, and then it starts spreading, and then all of a sudden, the regime is left in one corner of the country, and then that's where really there's going to be the most significant bloodbath, right? And then you get on the other side of that. You actually win. You defeat the regime in their last stronghold. You guys are.
Okay, so first of all, regarding the question for the bloodbath and that part of the first question that you raised, the thing is that 1% that I was talking about, I believe that 1% will stand till all of them die, So that's the thing, and it has to happen. Because there is going to be a fight on the ground between people and these IRGC guys, and that's when I'm saying 1% of the IRGC, not 1% of the population. That's another fact. Because I believe that IRGC and the regimes are in minority, and the minority of them are categorized in that group. There is a lot of them in IRGC, SC, and why are you doing this? And he was like, the answer that he gave us was like, who's gonna pay for my dinner tonight? That's what he said, straight to our face. So, a lot of them, they are forced to do it because of the economic situation which is in Iran, not because of the ideology or because they support the regime or whatever.
It seems to be the problem that you're actually featuring, and this is across all countries. I mean, even the high-ranking government people at this point of time, when you have a government which is kind of by all means paralyzed, they would have just given up government. They have enough money and stuff. But it seems that this was a kind of a trait of ours. we're not giving up anything until the last moment. So you have the multimillionaires and billionaires who are not giving up. Logic until they're not giving up until as they say, the fat lady sings. They're not giving power until they're sure the game is over for them.
Exactly.
That's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly. That's true. And I believe the majority of them are categorized in that group, that they will give up when they feel that the game is going to change. So that's the majority of them. And also there are some people mostly in our parents' generation. They are, kind of religious, like they are Muslims. They practice the religious. And because of the religious, they support the regime, but they are not pro-regime supporters. They are the harmless one.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
They make you.
No. They, yeah.
That your parents are more religious than you. Your grandparents are more religious than your parents.
That's my point. That's why I believe that after the regime topples, what you think that there will be something like ISIS group in Iran, that's not going to happen.
But I think if you look at, like, for example,
whether the ideology is how much of it is influenced by the religion, how much from political, but it's a radical ideology. Iranians are kind of not ideological.
Wait, were you saying something, Pepe? We couldn't hear you.
Yeah, well, okay, so we can look at the Nazis, we can look at fucking the Soviet Union, like when Stalin was in power and all of this, when Uncle Joe was doing. I mean, these were not religious people, and they were very ideological. They were very down. So. Animal compared to what you see with the Sunnis. And I think this is something kind of specific to the IRGC, and it's not just religious. Maybe I'm wrong.
You guys didn't answer my question. I asked you, after the regime falls, right? You guys are Iranians, you're living abroad. What are you going to do? Are you going to go back? And if you are going to go back, what are you going to do when you get there?
Me personally, yes, I will go back. And I spoke yesterday with my uncle in Sydney. He also said, like, we will be back because if our country will be great, why we need to stay abroad? Why? There isn't any, reason for that. Because we have our country, we have our family. Why we have to live abroad? There isn't any, point for that.
No. I think Taras answered the right question.
But I'm guessing they won't. They'll just wait till everything's done, and they'll be like,
I think that's actually a good question, though. I'd love to know the answer to that.
Okay, first let me answer Daniel as well. Daniel, actually the thing is that I was in Iran and I was working in the tech department as well, but the thing is that the part that whenever I was going to work and I was thinking that what I'm participating to the company that I was working for is kind of helping the regime. So that's that part was just biting. I mean, how do I say it? I've got to a point that my nerve system broke down. Okay. My country, and if I see a government there who works for its own people, if there is a free run, of course I go back to my country and I participate to my homeland.
Alright, and then the second question.
Okay, the second question is that, dude, is there a way to go there now?
Yeah, if we can get you guys in there and they start turning the tables and the Iranians start marching up in Iraq and the IRGC, there's no surface air missile systems. We can get you into Iraq and then you guys can get in cars and stuff or pickups or whatever, and y'all can go over there and go free your country and help fight. Are you willing to do that or not?
I am. If they provide the training and a missile, gun for me.
God, are you seriously back on that shit?
No, not training. Okay, just give me a gun and just give me a gun and send me. I was in the street 2 years ago in the Max Harmony movement with my bare hands against guard armed to teeth. Okay. I was there with my wife and we've got beaten up. We've got shot at, and I saw people that was shot in front of me and they lost the eyes, they were killed and so on. We already done that, man.
You had a good response, and I respect you for that. Because 99% of all the other Iranians that we've spoke to go, but we don't have weapons and
Can I answer the question?
You think Epstein guy is Palestine?
We found the one not pussy.
So you're gonna bring you freedom? Epstein guy is gonna bring you freedom? Those perverts, Epstein guy is gonna bring freedom to you.
Who's gonna bring freedom to us?
I said cocksucker says what?
Fuck Philistine, doctor. Fuck Philistine.
Why is it? Who's the
He's
pervert?
saying that pedophile Jews are gonna give you your freedom.
I never mentioned the Jews. I never mentioned the word Jews, okay?
Saying you little anti-Semitic.
Don't put words in my mouth, okay, liar, okay?
Doctor, so whatever help we are receiving from U.S. and Israel, we are deeply appreciating, and we are not asking life for boots on the ground.
I hope when you visit Gaza next time that all the buildings are actually destroyed, you don't get thrown off.
I hope Iran also will send you the stuff that you deserve.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Points that besieges the
And Russia will give them.
Doctor,
free.
Be the delusional.
Wait, didn't Russia say that they're going to stay the fuck out of it since Trump?
Yeah, exactly. They don't give a fuck about Iran.
You only can take one part and then you're gone. Doctor, who are the perverts that you're talking about? Donald Trump and his people.
But anyways, to be honest, I believe that the U.S. and Israel got their own interest as well, but it seems to be aligned with the Iranian people's interest at the same time.
You can't speak for the Iranian people, Dana. You only just opposition.
I don't know why we're doing.
You are not the Iranian.
Hold on. We have Pepe here. Pepe, would you like to?
Go ahead,
No, I mean,
Congressman.
I don't respect this guy that came up because, like, I have at least respect.
Get him, Pepe. Get him, boy.
I never mentioned the word Jews at the beginning, okay?
Shut up, pussy.
That is,
No.
well, that's all what you can do. That's all what you can do.
Doctor, I have a question for you. What's your country of origin?
Regardless.
Pakistan.
So you don't want to answer. Okay. So so Pakistan, Bangladesh, one of these places, right? No. Okay. So are we talking about Central Asia? Are we talking about the Indian subcontinent?
It is irrelevant.
So why are you afraid to
Did
answer?
you hear the way he said you're
It is irrelevant. Shoot your question if you have a question.
No. I want to know. It's topic.
Don't customize your question. Just ask the question, okay?
No. I want. This is the subject of my question. Where are you from? Are you afraid? Why are you
I
afraid
am
of us?
from planet Earth.
Can we get back to the Pepe screaming?
I don't know if you noticed, but the Russians are kind of busy right now. Maybe you missed that.
We hope the Russian or the North Korean is gonna happen.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So Doctor, you sound like you're from East Asia. That's where your accent sounds like it's from. And I'm gonna tell you.
Nobody knows where the fuck it is near China, near Russia. None of these motherfucking nations gonna fucking do shit about none of it.
Do you think you're the strongest since you have F-35 and all those super tankers?
Are you going to tell me to stop?
Nobody can stand up to you.
My friend is from Yemen. You motherfucker, you cannot deny that you lost your sugar daddy, isn't it?
Well, I am not.
What I don't get is that a lot of you fuckers.
I am
No,
not
hold on a
from
second.
Yemen,
Hold on.
okay?
You want to talk about that? Hold on. You want to talk about Epstein? Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was a gross person. I get all of that, but there's a reason why that is a scandal in our country because we find it so grotesque. We find it so wrong, and that children were violated this kind of way. But I mean, it sounds like wherever you come from, it is perfectly fine to marry a 12 or 13-year-old to fucking marry a grown-ass man and for him to empty his balls into her and somehow it is kosher or excuse me, it'd be halal. So I mean, no offense, spare me your fucking moral outrage and your
I am not a Nazi, PP. PP, you stupid, I'm not a Nazi, okay?
Okay.
Well, okay. I do find it funny you called you PP.
That's been. Calls me PP. I don't even know.
His name's not PP. It's PP Herman.
Haha.
Okay, what I want you to know that I am not a Nazi,
You're kind of
okay?
kind of speaking of PP Herman. You're probably the type of guy that likes to jerk off and blow your load on the back of somebody's head in the movie theater, right?
Well, all what you like is to kill 150 students, grade 1 to 5 students.
What
And
country
you are
are you
absolutely
from, you
right.
fucking
This is
pussy?
what you're
What
good for.
country are you from? You fucking
He's
pussy.
too much of a coward to say it.
160 students from grade 1 to
Okay, I
5.
don't care. How many girls
I know you
are
don't
getting
care
raped?
because you're
How
a murderer.
many child brides
You're
are getting
just
raped
a
in Yemen
murderer.
right now? How many child brides are getting raped
You're
all
just a
throughout the Middle East?
murderer.
Well, you guys worry about fucking
You
you know,
guys
Epstein.
are
Who's dead?
murderers. Murderers.
Murders
I'm
is
not
your
gonna
second
wait.
from the
You've
name.
been a rotten
So don't
and
forget. Go and
Yeah, okay. Well,
And I
think
will be
we
there.
heard enough from you.
I'm so sorry
You-
because you lost your sugar daddy. Don't tell
Yeah.
me otherwise, you know? Do you think so? Yes.
Whatever it is, he's very focused on.
Okay, anybody's not here to explain to the mob here that I'm not a Nazi. Okay.
Well, we don't care. It's irrelevant. No one wants civilians to die in war. You're very focused on the girls' school, and I think it's a valid point. Girls, kids should not die in war. It's very unfortunate, but you are clearly.
It's not they should not die. It should not be killed. Excuse me, I'm not saying killed. Okay.
So I'm not finished, okay?
Don't think I'm just trying to play with the book.
You're clearly more concerned about that than the 30,000 Iranians who were murdered by the regime. Yeah, what about those people? And then what about the millions of people who are dead because of this regime in the Middle East over the past 47 years? Millions of people have died because of that.
Please. Every person who died, almost majority of people who died in the Middle East because of Israel.
Shut your fucking mic. Shut your fucking mouth.
Just because of Israel.
Every innocent people is dying in Iran. The blood is on hand of IRGC, dead Khamenei.
You want Jesus to come back?
If they would have cared for the Iranian people, they would build a shelter. They would build missile.
Exactly. And Dr. He doesn't know anything about. Listen. Doctor.
If they care about the kids, they wouldn't put them in the armed ways. They wouldn't put that school in the middle of an IRGC compound. Did you see the photos? Did you see the tower? Did you see?
Friends.
How is this non-Christian here telling everybody that that you don't speak for all sides, but this fucking sodomite is sitting here telling everybody that he somehow has the right fucking answer. You fucking dickless cowards. You wouldn't even say where the fuck you're from. Where everybody else in this room has been transparent. So why the fuck should anybody listen to what the fuck you have to say?
PP, where are you from, PP? Where are you from, PP?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. And where are you from, bitch?
You bitch. Are you Israeli, bitch?
No, I'm American. I'm a Catholic. I'm not a real Catholic because I don't go to church, but I'm not Jewish. Nobody in my family is Jewish.
So what do you support Israel?
I'm Jewish.
I only support Israel to an extent. I don't.
What do you do like about Israel?
No. First you tell us where you're from.
How about this, Doctor?
Just let the guy.
Or we move you to the audience.
You asked me a bunch of questions after I asked you one, and I answered every single fucking question, including where I'm from. But you have not answered one of the one question I asked you. Where the fuck are you from?
All right, moderators. If he doesn't answer, move him to the audience until he answers.
He's gone.
That way he doesn't get what he wants.
He's now in the audience.
Right.
He has to answer in the audience, otherwise he doesn't come back up. Like, that's just how much.
Here's the thing, a lot of people, they're not from a country, they never lived there, they don't know anybody from there, and they just open their mouth and talk shit.
And see, here's what I can't figure out, right? You have, let's the Middle East. You have Christians, you have Jews, you have Kurds, you have Yazidis, right? You have Baha'i, okay? Every single one of these groups seem to regularly be murdered by Islamic extremists, but in his mind, this is all the fault of Israel. You are fucking retarded.
Can I say why? Because like from the childhood they were saying just
What's that, Austin?
I said, if you cannot make his wife stop, it's also because of Israel. That's
Yes.
people.
Yes, a pipe person.
Money is because of Israel. I'm not even a Jewish, but if you're gonna be, at some point, people gonna
Yes.
wake the fuck up and fucking.
A pipe person in Damascus, and it's a Zionist conspiracy, right? It's just, it's ridiculous, you know, and these people are ridiculous. You want me to talk about things that I don't like?
Here's the thing, even if conspiracy theories like this exist, right? Well, motherfucker, it's their empire. If they are that powerful as people think they are, okay, fine, it's their empire. Like,
I think a lot of people, though, they lack the maturity. Like, I look at when I say Israel, you know, for example, was trying to goad Trump into attacking Iran, if I was trying to be very specific, I would say Netanyahu. Of course, their country with varying opinions. Netanyahu's a polarizing figure. Of course, understandably, after October 7th, he's kind of being as hawkish as he is. They kind of looked like, hey, yeah, we can kind of use this man at this time. But I do think Netanyahu is. Well, I mean, that's not a bad thing. He's Israel first. He's literally their fucking prime minister, so it makes sense. But he is what I would consider somewhat of a Weasley character, and Trump, I would say, is largely politically aligned with him. But you know, it is. And you're right. You shouldn't say like, oh, it's this Jewish or Zionist conspiracy theory. But I mean, I do think that like when you look at like who's in power in the United States and who Netanyahu is in power in Israel, yeah, you can absolutely look at those two and say like, yeah, I mean, this is the shit that they're pulling. And I think Netanyahu is kind of making a big mistake. I do question like, is he more concerned with his legacy than he is for like actually?
No chance. Look, I'm gonna just, you know, Pepe, you and I have had a lot of conversations, right? Okay, so I'm gonna, you know, in hearing everything that you're saying, I'm treating it as an honest critique. Okay, so look, it doesn't on this particular issue related to Iran, there is no daylight among any Israeli politician that can capture any measure of the vote in Israel that matters. The exception to that would be the Meretz party, and they have no political power whatsoever. Or, you know, the parties that are the Arab parties, because unfortunately the Arab parties are, you know, generally extremely anti-Israel and really don't speak for the majority of Arabs in the country, right? But it is, okay? And, you know, there is no daylight. It wouldn't matter if any of the other prime ministers, people who could be prime ministers in Israel were. I will reference another event that has occurred, okay? And there have been many events like this, but one specific event. Ehud Olmert was prime minister in 2008 when they bombed the Syrian nuclear reactor. Ehud Olmert is an Israeli lefty, and I mean it like lefty, okay? He was in power. He was dealing with the Bush administration. The Bush administration did not want the Israelis to bomb that reactor. The Israelis said, we're doing it anyway. Okay? And that was an Israeli lefty. Now, there is a significant, deep, you know, chasm of division in Israel between left and right on a range of domestic political issues. But on this issue, it does not exist. So that's number one. It wouldn't matter who was in power. They would all have the same view about Iran because they understood the threat. Okay, that's the next thing. Chosen, but the rocket hit your synagogue and bunker and eliminated everyone there while God was watching. I mean, I don't know what synagogue he's talking about, but he doesn't understand what being the chosen people means. So I'm going to take this opportunity to explain it because he's retarded. And so is anybody who says that. Being the chosen people does not mean you are special. It means chosen for responsibility and obligation and duty. That is what it means. The religious notion, right, of being chosen is about doing what God has asked you to do, to be a good Jewish person, to follow the Torah. That's what.
Even Catholics, we have the same. Like, I won't get into it, but there's the Second Vatican. Most priests and Catholics don't probably even really believe, but we kind of the same. Evangelicals in the United States, and starting in the 1900s, we also thought we had that covenant, the new covenant with God, and that basically our chosenness was because of that new covenant. So I get what you're saying. Like, there is we have religious belief that doesn't, but even Christians believe all of us were made in image. We're not supposed to.
Sure. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's not intended. We'll say, okay, generally speaking, most religions, centralize their followers in the religion, right? I mean, that is a normal thing in a faith, right? That doesn't, that as a group or, whether generalized sectorally, that there is this view that inherent superiority. This is just whether it's from the far right or from the far left, the people who say these things, or pro-Islamists or whatever. Oh, look at you saying, he's like, you can't build the temple again. This guy's bananas. Like, we don't want to rebuild the temple. Like, you don't understand.
Daniel, hold on, Daniel. We're not going to engage with Doctor until he tells this country.
Doctor, by the way, there is this really big schism. If you want to know the religious group of people I kind of really have a special disdain for, they're not Jews or Muslims, they're the Protestants. I do think they're despicable, heretics. I think they're just rotten pieces of shit, and their version of Christianity is so far removed from actual Christianity that I fucking despise them. And so you do get some of these evangelicals that they, like, what's fucking ironic, they're like, their temple will be built. Americanized version of Christianity, but a lot of this, you have to understand, a lot of this extreme rhetoric, so that you get, and it is blood cultish, like, especially with the evangelicals. Like, they think they can expedite Jesus' return and usher in the Antichrist and have this state of Israel, which Israel in Christianity did not mean a literal fucking nation state of Israel with Jews living in it, but we can get to that later. But they want them there to be fighting wars with everybody across the world. And so, the Antichrist comes and then Jesus returns and perishes most of the Jews to hell. And, they love Jews so much.
I would be worried about, evangelicals if there was all of a sudden a whole bunch of evangelicals, like, setting up shop in Israel and, like, trying to,
converging interests among, look, sure. I would do it too if I was.
Okay, but I've had conversations with people who work for Kufi, and they didn't come across as kooky to me. I mean, maybe, the pastor who runs it is a little kooky. I don't know. I've never talked to him. I haven't met him, right? But the people who I've talked to who worked at Kufi seem perfectly reasonable. That's Christians United for Israel. If the people don't know, it's an evangelical organization, but it is a non-proselytizing organization, which means they're not trying to convert, us, the Jews, right? It's not, and there are Christian organizations in Israel, and they have a presence, they have offices there and things like that. You go into downtown Jerusalem.
One for Israel.
And every time I see those rabbis, especially children in Old Jerusalem that spit in front of those evangelical.
To Israel and try and convert Jews, and the Jews they go and try and convert the Orthodox, which is like, it's just not going to go well, and the Orthodox get really upset, and so that is their reaction. But they get harassed by these people, in Israel, and like.
Well, yeah, you're Orthodox. Like, I remember the videos I would see in the Orthodox community. It was kind of funny. It's like over a decade ago, but or even 2 decades ago. It would be like an Israeli woman walks near a, I don't know, like a Haredi community, and then they're like, I can't tell what they're saying. There's subtitles, but something along the lines of like, "You whore, you display some modesty. How dare you?" Like, they were so fundamentalist that it was like
there are different groups of religious Jews in Israel, right? There are why, like, when you open up, Jewish religious texts, there's all this commentary on the side with all these different interpretations, and that is not what they practice in their version, and it is an issue. Now, it's very complicated, the politics of this in Israel.
But can I derail you there real quick? Because somebody did a room about this, and I largely agree. Now, this guy, I think he's American. He has a last name Oliveira. Did you see that one? It's about Lake New Jersey, and where he went to the Hasidic.
I heard of it. Yeah, he tried to talk about Hatzalah, which is hilarious. But
I don't care about the ambulance. I don't care about that stuff. But the welfare usage, that's long been known. They do that. Now, I don't, and this is one of the arguments I would bring up, is that, like, they don't have to even enlist in the IDF. It basically, they're looked at as like leeches, for lack of a better term, and it's just like, but it's kind of the same in the U.S. I do think that he was a little inappropriate about it, because he was like, for example, using the term goyim, which is not even like an offensive term. Jews used to like, goyim got the gold. Jewish filmmakers would make like basically these self-reflective jokes where they would refer to us as goyim, but it's not a derogatory term.
It can be, but it's not like we don't spend like a lot of our time thinking about, oh, look at all these goys. Like, it's not like, that's not the way it is in our community. But look, there's this I meet a lot of people, okay? And you know what? There are a lot of Orthodox Jews in real estate. Okay, I deal with them all the time. These guys run business. Well, look, it's people are in business, right? And it's not like the Orthodox community in general is living off the dole, on welfare. Like, it's just not true. Now, in Israel, I'm just saying, like, I know a lot of Orthodox Jews who are very serious business people, and so in Israel, there is subsidization for if you are you go to religious school, you get a stipend. Now, it's not a lot of money, right? And there is a claim that they shouldn't get the stipend. I happen to agree, but there are other people in Israel.
The point was, if you want to go to Bible college, they'll give you the same amount of money. But if you
amount of money though, who does it?
The federal government through grants and scholarships,
so where are they going
all
to?
kinds of shit.
So are they going to an official school?
Yeah, of course they are.
Oh,
the ones that were
Hasidic Jews.
The ones that
I
were
thought
in
they
New
just
York.
go to a shul and they like study Torah as a group, and like nobody's gonna pay me for having
So
kids going to
Oliveira,
church and studying.
Pepe, the Oliveira guy was talking about it, that there is a yeshiva there that's like one of the highest ranked yeshivas in the country, and that was the one that a lot of them were going to. So they are.
Okay, sure. But look, there's other groups. I mean, like in Arizona, we had a really big problem with the FLDS, which is the Fundamental Latter-day Saints.
Yes.
Which are the Mormon Church, the official LDS Church, completely writes them off. They do not like them. But they had very. And they're not the only.
They were running a cult, right?
Yes, and I would say it's far more pernicious. There's one group. I forget the name of that fucking group that went to Latin America and they got deported.
That's Kitover.
Yeah, and so you had one group that was
kind of nuts.
Yeah, you have one group that's kind of comparable to them, but then of course Warren Jeffs, who's claimed that he was like this prophet, so obviously he ran afoul of the Mormon Church. It was a lot of horrible shit was happening there, but there was a lot of welfare fraud going on there, a whole bunch.
Yeah. So look, there are bad people out there who do bad things, and that is something that people should go to jail for. Like it doesn't matter who it is, right? In the big difference is in Israel, right? There is an official system that's set up, right, where a lot of the Orthodox don't serve in the army. They get to opt out because they're going to religious school, and this is a huge political issue there, which has gone on for a long time, and it's not resolved. It goes back to the founding of modern Israel in 1948, and it's all very complicated. But
let me ask you a question. Do you think part of the reason why, and I pondered this, so like you have the Hasidic Jewish community, I can't think of any group that's similar to them in other parts of the Jewish diaspora, and they are a unique group of people. Very, I would describe them as eccentric, just from an outward perspective. But do you think that part of that is like them trying to preserve that group?
Let me answer it in two ways. Okay. First way, okay, is that in 1948, the Orthodox got a special status, okay, because there'd been a loss of 6 million Jews, and there was a view that it was important to let them flourish, to carry on the Jewish tradition, because it's a serious application of Judaism. Okay, so it's not an unserious application of Judaism. It is a serious application of Judaism. but it is also extremely strict. In terms of a religious regime. If you are in Israel, there are communities that are Orthodox communities. So there's Beit Shemesh, an Orthodox community. Other specific towns that are Orthodox, where everyone who lives there is Orthodox, and everyone there follows the same rules. And there is part of the reason for this is not nefarious, right? It's because they live a very similar lifestyle, and they don't, and people who live that lifestyle don't want to live around people who don't follow the lifestyle, because it's about a religious observance. If you're Orthodox and you go live in Tel Aviv, you're going to see chicks in bikinis all over the place. It's, for them, they're not going to feel as comfortable living there, right? So, if you're a woman and if you're wearing a bikini and you go into Beit Shemesh or one of the other places, Bnei Brak, right, wearing a bikini, they are going to get upset at you, right? Like
I remember seeing those videos, and I understand. Yeah. To me, it's like them trying to remain pure by isolating themselves from what they consider like negative or.
There are different sides of it, right? There are. I know lots of really great, really awesome Orthodox people. Okay, and look, like anybody else, they have bad ideas. Some of their bad ideas is they think that they are, better Jews than everyone else, right? And so there is this thing in Israel where they like to take certain privileges, and people, this is one of the social problems in Israel, right? So Israel's a complicated place where in many ways, you have profound coexistence in some ways, and in other ways, there's around the edges, you get rough spots, but you have an event like October 7th, right?
Unifying.
Well, it's not just that. The guys who go and they pick up the bodies and they take care of the dead, all those guys are Orthodox to the south of the country, right, where the most left-wing Jews were the ones who were living right by the border with Gaza. Yeah, and and it's the Orthodox guys coming to help them. So it's much more complicated than it seems, and there is, at the end of the day, a lot of mutual respect and brotherhood and sisterhood between these communities. It's not like vicious hatred or anything like that. There are political problems, people disagree, but like 80% of Israelis agree on like 80% of everything. It's the 20% that they don't agree on. Israelis are far more united than they are even aware of. Statistically speaking, there is definitely a BB derangement syndrome in Israel, because he's been such a successful politician, over such a long period of time. And there's a reason for that. He is extremely good at what he does. There are some of the things that he's done as prime minister I don't think have been, great domestically for Israel, but from a security standpoint, he's amazing. And I say this despite the fact that October 7th happened on this watch, and I say this because you have to understand a lot of the domestic politics in Israel and where the power centers are to understand that there are pretty serious divisions politically, and this goes through military and defense and the Shabak, which is like the Israeli FBI, right, and who has responsibility for surveilling what things, and it's all very, very complicated. It's not like, so it's not a straight line to Netanyahu that's responsible for October 7th, right? Like, I don't
I look at it, especially from an outsider's point of view, and this is where I'm critical of Netanyahu, is that where I respect him is I think that he's somebody who would do whatever it takes for his people, the Israelis, and he'll try to talk us into doing what is best for the Israelis, even when it's not in the U.S.'s best interest. Once again, that's his job. This isn't me saying he's a bad person. He's literally doing what I think most of us would want U.S. presidents to do. As somebody who's more or less like America First type of person. So I'm not he's a bad person, but I don't think he's necessarily completely aligned with the United States.
Yeah, but it's not look. So there's two things, right? One is my view of American politics in the Middle East is that American politics in the Middle East has always been kind of chicken shit, and also like diplomat kind of view of how they're supposed to manage this stuff, which frankly has not worked for decades, right? Post Cold War, and it's like they forgot that that it's like they believed that this stuff that Francis Fukuyama said, that you reached the end of history and that that you didn't have to worry about wars anymore. I mean, it's sort of that kind of detached from reality mentality, which has driven U.S. diplomacy in the Middle East for a long, long time, and none of that shit works. And Trump has just ignored all of that stuff, and so has Rubio. Now, that's my view of American foreign policy in the Middle East. Okay, is that this is why you had a regime like Iran, thousands of Americans, and the U.S. never did a goddamn fucking thing about it. Right? Like, why? For decades this went on without the Americans responding. Like, it never made any sense to me. They, in my view, a country very similar to the very kind of pernicious force that the Soviet Union was around the world, same as Russia, right? Like extremely, dedicated to fucking up, countries all around the world based on what they saw was their corrupt intent. Iran, no difference at all, in my view. And during the Cold War, not every American action, but there's a large number of American actions which were basically getting the Israelis, to not act in their own interests, from what was perceived as an American interest at the time, which was not letting the conflict boil over, whatever the conflict was, right? Keeping a lid on the conflict, right? And this has prevented the Israelis from dealing with these crazy people who continue to launch wars against Israel for 80 years. Get involved in the war. And I understand that. That's a legitimate concern. I don't think everyone does it.
I think post-Soviet Union, we have to have it's a much different. The stakes are much different.
100%. Post-Soviet Union, the stakes are completely different, right? The Soviet Union armed all of the Arab countries to the teeth for decades for free, right? Billions of dollars of tanks and aircraft and all this stuff, right? For free, if they gave it to the Arabs, right? To try and control the Middle East, and it had some impact, certainly in regards to American interests, but that was a far more significant implication in terms of which affected American policy than anything that the Israelis ever had in terms of influence over, American policy at all. Most of the time, my perception of American policy is that it's just ignored what Israelis think, like over and over and over again, because they have these fantasies about what the Middle East is really. He understands how to make a deal with those guys, whereas everyone else seems to fucking fail, right? And I think that we should give him, in this case, in this particular policy, a lot of fucking credit, because he seems to get these people and understand how to make them do things, or get them to do things together, or get them to in the United States has failed to do for decades, right? Like, it's incredible, and it's mystifying because people think of Trump as this sort of idiot savant or whatever, and how can he make these things happen, and they can't stand it, right? But he has made these things happen. It's not an illusion; they are real, right? He had the right people in his administration, and he listened to the right people. And I think there's lots of really strong reasons to why he listened to Bibi. But I'm going to leave you with this, Pepe, which I think is, regardless of whether it's Netanyahu or some Israeli prime minister, for decades by demonstrating huge value to America as an ally, right, over and over and over again, and then also, in addition to that, giving him, this is all the stuff that happens in private in the administration we don't hear about, giving America reasons to trust what the Israelis are saying, right, and by showing them, one, really incredible intelligence, right, which would be very difficult for the Americans to recreate because they don't understand the Middle East very well, and then two, okay, to show that you can perform incredible operations which are spectacular in their success, which blow the Americans away, and say, holy shit, you know what, we've got a really capable ally here that can do that none of our other allies can do. And this is a reason for us to work with the Israelis. The Israelis are surrounded by hostile countries. Now, perhaps less. Because it's a religious priority for them, and we embarrass them, consistently because we keep winning against them in wars, right? Like, so, look, there's a lot of nuances and stuff. We can talk about it for hours. I'm actually going to go now, and I appreciate the discussion. Thank you, Pepe, for listening to me. I'm going to go watch some TV before I crash. We can talk some more some other time. I appreciate everyone else who's listening. Thank you so much, because we've gone on and on. And I really appreciate the Persians in the room who added their thoughts and were able to answer my questions. It's illuminating. Thank you. And good night to everyone.
Sorry, I'm eating, so I turned my mic off. I'm really talking, but I think like one of the things that get kind of like dismissed is that outside of Israel, I would say perhaps the most powerful Jews in the world reside in America. They've been super successful. More power to them, but if do you think he's going to be the best for Israel? Jewish Zionist Americans are absolutely going to put all of their eggs in his basket. Like, that's common sense. I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, but I guess where I kind of disagree with him is he said that like Israel had to show their value to the United States, where I think like really they have a huge they get a huge amount of support from their American Jews, to be honest with you. I think that's where it's the American Jews that are like basically pulling them up. Yeah, so shout out to them.
But Pepe, Trump has been saying this since like 1988, like when he attacked the Cod Island. Did you see that on X, by the way, in case you missed it because you're eating?
Trump attacked what?
Trump said in 1988 he would attack Cod Island, which the U.S. just attacked 3 hours ago and destroyed all of their bases there. And he said this in 1988. It's before both of me and you were even born. You know what I mean? He's been consistent.
No, I was definitely born before 1988. I was definitely born before that.
Really? Oh. You sound like maybe 95, 96, okay. But yeah, he said it in 88. It's an interview I can put in the chat if you want to see. So when these people like, oh, Bibi made him do it, he's been saying it. No. I've spoken to other people say this, and I'm just like, he's been saying this since a long, long time ago, more than 40 years. Wait, it's not 40 years, it's like 30 something.
Okay, anybody who's not a Jew, anybody like any white Gentile that makes decisions like Trump does, ultimately he has the autonomy to make his fucking decisions. I'm not going to blame a Jew for any. Maybe he made the best decision. I'm not convinced of that, but maybe he did. I don't know. I have to see how things play out.
Do you believe this had to be done at some point?
I think that. Well, I don't know. That depends. Like, what happens to the IRGC? Do you have internally?
Okay, let's say to get rid of them. We're not talking about they're gone or whatever.
I think it was likely that we would have to kill IRGC leadership for sure.
Or not to just kill them in order to get rid of them, but completely.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, the Ayatollah and the IRGC, you can't just get rid of them. You have to
I mean, the system, you know what I mean? You can't probably kill the entire ideology because look at Arab nations or some radical Islamists, right, in regards to Jewish people. But I'm talking about the system.
Yeah, but I mean, you're talking about a system, which is kind of what I was saying earlier, is that I don't think the IRGC is. There's a measure of Islamic fundamentalism there. That is Shia. It's not. Most Muslims do not have any. I would say if you look at, for example, the Nazis, you can look at the communists, people that would mass slaughter people. These were not religious ideologues, but they were ideologues. Do I think you have regime ideologues? Yeah, absolutely. So, obviously, I don't want to kill them. It's what I want the people, and I don't think any Muslim in here would say oh, the IRGC is good. No, I don't think anybody would say that.
There's a lot of them would say that. You know why?
because of the hate they have toward Jewish people. I'm not Jewish, by the way, just to let you know. But there's a lot of Muslims or radical Islamists. Not every Muslim, obviously. Not everyone is bad. Not everyone is horrible. But there's a lot of them will support them because of the fact that they hate the Jewish people. I can't really put a number to it, but like, it's obvious. I mean, I see it every day. Come on, like you see it in the streets of New York. Like, it's not like, you know, it's something that I see and you don't see.
It's in their book. At the end of the time, all Muslims go find behind every tree, kill every Jew behind every tree, you know. And I'm just like, it's the same thing that happened in Europe. When Angela Merkel brought in 1 million Syrians, she brought in 1 million anti-Semites. It's just a fact. I'm just happy that finally, after 47 years, the Islamic Republic is going away. And then next is Cuba. And then we can have margaritas and sexy mamacitas there, you know.
Yeah, but Cuba is like
America.
Yeah, but Cuba is like not even related to. I mean, it kind of is relationships, but they're communists. They're not like fucking. They're definitely not Muslim, and they're definitely not that religious.
But I love the fact that he's wiping out dictatorships. It's a great thing. We're living through great times. I don't like people blackpilling. Iran had to go a long time ago. You can't live like Bill Clinton had the chance to stop North Korea getting a nuclear weapon, but he kept trying to make a deal, and then eventually got a nuclear weapon. Iran are Marxists. They believe the end of the world brings back Ali. You know who Ali is? I'm sure you do. It's the kid that fell in the well. You know, Puri, you know what I'm talking about?
It's Mahdi. It's not Ali. It's Mahdi, which Mahdi is not the correct name. It's Hassan Muhammad al-Askari. It's not even the real name. They actually I just wanted to ask Pepe. You said they're not religious.
Who? The demons?
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, the Cubans. The Cubans basically, when communism was ushered in, they basically banned foreign influence, which included the Vatican. Overwhelmingly, they were Roman Catholic. But yeah, no, they're not that.
No, I thought you were talking about the Islamic Republic.
No, he was not. I think he was.
Yeah, sorry about Cuba right now.
No, I'm just saying it's exciting times. Can you believe we're going to watch history, the Islamic Republic be gone, Cuban dictatorship gone after 6 or 7 years, you know? Things are looking up and up, you know? I'm sick of terrorism. People getting blown up all over the place. People justifying it is horrible, you know? And it's like, find something about it. You know, if Bill Clinton had done this, by the way, I like Bill Clinton. I think he was a great president because I'm an economist through economic lines. And agree to disagree. But I like the fact Trump is doing something. This Islamic Republic had to go. Death everywhere, terrorism everywhere, blowing people's legs and everywhere, you know? It's awful.
It has documentaries he was talking about Islamic Republic and what they did to the hostages back in 1979. And ever since Trump had this, problem with them, and finally, at the 47th year of Islamic Republic, the 47th president of the United States finally freed us. He's gonna go down to our history books. People in Iran are already changing the streets names. They're Trump. They're Bibi. I remember the time that we had to go to school in Iran, the Islamic Republic, every day in the morning, the school, we had to say death to America, death to Israel. It wasn't something, that you could choose, or you could have said it was mandatory, it was necessary. Unless you didn't go to the classes. Imagine every day In 9 months of education, you have to say death to Israel and United States. Why? Why should I? We're watching American movies, or listening to American music. We're both following their cultures. We love them. You know what happened? September, the 11th of September, the United States. You're gonna see like so many videos that in Iran people were like mourning for them, lighting up candles, going out in the streets, like reporting American souvenirs to the American team. Like us people, we just wanted to chill, but fortunately,
but the thing is, Korea, the Iranian people are very different people. They're highly educated. They're not impressed. They're not jihad minded. Very, very successful everywhere they go. Highly intellectual. Iran is not going to be like Iraq. The Iranian people, they want their Shah back, and they want greatness. Iran become great again. They're not this.
What do we want?
People.
But you say they want their Shah back, but because it looks back to sure. But, Pahlavi, I get they want some of them want to look back to better times, but if I'm going to be realistic, I don't think they even want that. They probably want to be more Western. In other words, they don't have like a fucking Shah.
Ask Korea. He's Iranian.
Also, you know what do we want? Israel, even after we succeed in the revolution that is happening right now, we have to create something to throw out the Islam from the region, not only in Iran, not only in like our country. It has to go out of the region. Unless, if we don't do it, you're going to see the consequences in New York.
We're about to bring freedom to Cuba too. Apparently the FBI is going to investigate over there and they're going to negotiate. They're about to capitulate, man. So we got another one, baby. Another one. Freedom.
Freedom. Cuba is so much different from fucking Iran. God damn.
Can't wait to, I need to show companies that sell Cuban cigars. You're about to get rich. I need to show companies that sell Cuban cigars.
It'll be our new vacation spot. It'll be all right.
100%.
10 years from now, bro, Americans will be going there vacationing. It'll be a lot better.
To free your people, and then you get killed in the process. Okay, now, I mean, you just lost the battle. Like, yeah. But when it comes to these retards, you had these American Cuban people of Cuban descent. I don't know if any of them were Cuban, came from Cuba or were Cuban citizens, but they ended up. Yeah, they went up. They had a lot of weapons. Several of them, I believe it was over 10. They opened fire on. No. It was more than that. It was.
Someone got killed. Sorry. Yeah, you're right.
And so they opened fire on their Coast Guard. The Coast Guard, they didn't suffer any casualties. They killed them. And that's that. And they took the living ones into custody. And I mean.
coma.
Some people said he already
I think he's waiting for his goods.
Is literally we go in, we take IRGC out, and then you have the Persians. They're gonna have their open and fair and free elections, which we'll only observe to make sure that they were fair and free. We shouldn't meddle at that point. But I would consider it a success then. But other than that, I don't. The problem with us attacking Iran is that it doesn't seem like we're going to actually be able to overtake them. They will still machine gun tens of thousands of their fucking people to death. They will continue to, even after Khomeini has been killed, they're going to launch strikes. Being bombarded by them. We have every ally being bombarded by them. It's not doom and gloom. It's about how. It's not doom and gloom. It's about how are we gonna. Okay, but what? How does it?
Allies that Israel has attacked. The entire existence since 1948. I think they attacked like 12 Arab countries, something ridiculous like that. How it benefits the United States if you control carbon.
After we attack them, though.
You control. Wait. You control 90% of all the oil that comes from Iran. It comes through Khark Island. Trump said that in 1988 that he would do it to attack Iran, and I wouldn't even call it a war. You know what I call it? Talking to my Iranian friends, you know what they call it? They call it a rescue operation. They don't even call it a war. Talk to. He's actually delighted that America's getting involved. And then I have to hear people being like, oh, well, it's going to be Iraq, it's going to be another gun. Iranian people are different people. These are sophisticated, probably like Western style people. If you talk to Iranians, bro, these people highly intelligent, highly sophisticated, bro. They're not these inbred backwards people, bro. Go over their country, they're gonna make it great again, bro. It's not a.
Sure, but actually.
Just let me line my
hurry up,
please. Just let me.
No, hold on. I want to answer him.
Just like Pepe, he has a great question. Just let me line my brother. I have a lot of Iranian friends. Some from Kurdistan, Iran. Some from Azawi, Iran. Some Persian Iranians. Every single one of them calls it, like a rescue operation. They're all delighted. That's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Just about oil. This is all about our currency system. I mean, our dollar, luckily, because of us doing this attack, is at $100. On the dollar. I mean, in fact, a month ago it was 95 cents. My best friend is hedging on America's failure with all his gold and silver, and it's fucking agonizing. He was convinced that we were fucked in the ass. There was nothing we could do to China. That's what a bunch of people thought. Nothing we could ever do to counter China. It's just inevitable they're going to knock us off the mantle. We're going to lose our primary currency status. BRICS is going to take over. They took over fucking the Panama Canal. They effectively did. They had bases in the southern part of Venezuela. That's why we attacked there as well. They were going to set up infrastructure for Greenland.
Okay, only
so
third
listen
world,
to me, man. Listen to me.
But only third people who believe in third worldist rhetoric.
Thing. It's Israel. It's the Jews. That's how fucking stupid you are. You have no, you have nothing else but one thing. You have one thing. It's Israel, it's the Jews. You can't think of nothing else, huh? It's not China. It's nothing else, huh? It's just Israel.
I literally said,
retarded
I literally said this is how.
For a fucking month.
I literally said
complaining about the Jews. You've said nothing.
Sure.
The whole time that we've been doing this intervention, you have said nothing but it's just the Jews. And when anybody tries to argue against that and tell you, moron, you got to know about geopolitics a little bit.
Calm
You
down.
just argue and say, no, it's Israel, you fucking goyim. It's the Jews. You're retarded.
Okay, calm down. So when it comes to hold on. So no, I'm not saying that it. First of all, BRICS doesn't involve Israel or the Jews. It's seriously injured or killed. They came in. And then they got the Venezuelan government to basically stop giving the Cubans oil. So now they're being energy starved. And now what we see.
And China. 7% of their oil was going to China.
Sure, but Cuba relied on them a lot more than anybody else. And so now Cuba, they're just like, yeah, well, we're going to come to the table. I think that is, and I'm going to give 100% of the credit to Marco Rubio, not Donald Trump when it comes to this shit.
You gotta be kidding, but he's the president. He has to green light.
That's ridiculous, dude.
Okay.
But this has kind of been our government's policy for years, though, Pepe. They've been trying to kind of setting.
Commander-in-chief, the commander-in-chief.
Sure. And so,
I can't even credit Trump for that, bro. Come on.
yeah, so he does have.
That's our government's policy.
So Marco Rubio, yeah, well, fortunately, he has somebody who's much smarter than him, which is Marco Rubio.
Who would say that?
Who's delivering for Trump.
How the hell did Trump destroy him in 2015?
Oh, shit, dude. This guy.
He did not win in any debate.
Puppet Master Rubio, bro, are you kidding me? He is such a deep state, man. Listen to yourself. He's an intelligent.
He's the deep stater that. He's the deep stater that literally. He's the deep stater that literally. Or was his.
No, but you're saying.
Hold on a second. Okay, hold on. So you have so you have Maduro who caused. Humanitarian crisis by releasing people from the insane asylum, people that were in their prisons, the worst gang members, which is a tactic Cuba used in the 1980s. And the security apparatus that was surrounding Maduro was Cuban. Known for a long time. You can look it up. Nobody disagrees with this. And so they kind of, I think that what he did with Venezuela was great. It so happens to coincide with what, Marco Rubio, which Trump didn't run on any of this shit. But if you look at Rubio, the Secretary of State, he is somebody that, especially when it comes to foreign policy, he outmastered. No, that is just strong point.
Bro,
That is a strong point.
he's a smart
That is
dude.
literally his
He's a
strongest
smart
point.
dude. That's why he was tapped in this position. But you can't sit here and act like
Secretary of State for a reason. This reason he's Secretary of State is literally because of his mastery of foreign.
Why Donald Trump was president.
Oh my God, you fucking moron! He won the presidency. But nobody, including Donald Trump, hold on, Donald Trump. The reason that Donald Trump, shut your fucking mouth. The reason Donald Trump, okay, ended up selecting him is because he is such a wizard when it comes to fucking foreign policy.
The reason why.
Are you fucking serious?
The reason why
That is his strongest goddamn point.
Can I say something?
That is where he fucking shines.
May I respond to that? Pepe, I agree that he's an impressive dude. And
up with this shit.
It's fucking stupid. You don't even let him respond because you have such a weak argument. Bro, I'm trying to
tell Pepe
finish.
something. Point of moderation. Pepe, I don't know if you know, but you have a green bean.
Well, you know me. I don't try to like.
Can I finish, please?
You can cut him anytime.
Yeah, I know, but that's stupid. Why would you cut me because I'm trying to make a fucking argument here?
Then let him fucking finish, faggot.
Oh, okay, I'm a faggot now. Because you're trying to say that Marco Rubio is more impressive than Donald Trump. I agree, Marco Rubio's impressive, but Donald Trump,
yeah, absolutely.
Don't take
Marco
away
Rubio is smarter than Donald Trump.
How the fuck do you know that? Go suck.
I'm listening to the motherfuckers talk. That's how.
Man, you are so weird. I swear to God, it's just strange. I cannot. Can you? If you think it's okay to mute people, bro, then I'll just bounce the fuck out. You dumb bitch. I know you didn't, Pepe, but I'm just saying that little bitch boy, of course, bro. He thinks that's okay. Then we're Americans talking about shit, bro.
You know, in Iran, they like Rubio because he's one of the first persons to advocate to attack Iran or some kind of ideologies like this. He was one of the good people in the system actually motivated Trump to do it.
Yeah,
and in Iran,
I agree.
They love him.
I agree, and that is one of the differences.
Hold on, there's a video.
No, you hold on. So, like, even me, this white supremacist, this horrible person that hates, like, non-white immigrants coming into this country, which is like over everybody else. Even though he's part of the Gang of Eight, he wanted to bring a bunch of beaners into our country. I was just like, well, he is the most rational and reasonable. And when I looked at Trump, I looked at somebody who seems to be somewhat of a liability. He's very narcissistic person. You can stroke his ego the right way, and then he'll maybe do what you want him to do, and which is kind of like proven to be true. And he is at the end of the day, he proved that he has proven himself to be a good Shabbos goy. Good little goy cow.
Like you say, Yolas, like it's the Jews. Like that to say. Yolas come from Jews.
No, I didn't say no. I didn't say Jews.
It's like a good Shabbos goy.
Just saying.
I don't even hate you. I don't hate you.
The way that you fucking talk about them, obviously I don't like them. They live fucking rent free in your little brain, bro.
Don't happen. Jewish Americans are perhaps the most successful ethnic group in the United States.
I think all the Jews did it too.
Sure, yeah, it's not funny.
It sounds like
no, you fucking faggots start listening. You stupid faggots start listening.
About white people.
Okay. I'm about to use my fucking mod privileges, but you faggots won't shut the fuck up. Like, Jesus
I
Christ.
just say the Jews though.
Amazing. So, yeah, I will say it right here and now. The Jews in America are perhaps the hold on. Shut your fucking mouth. They're also the most politically active of all ethnic groups. And so when it comes to that, shut your fucking mouth. And so when it comes to Israel, for example, where is the second largest concentration of Jews? It's in the United States. We have slightly less Jews in the United States. Yes, we have slightly. Shut your fucking mouth. We have slightly less Jews in the United States than we have in Israel. But the most powerful Jews in the world are largely in the United States. They've done very well for themselves. And are they going to naturally be tribal and well, no. So what I'm saying is, I'm not trying to say that there's like this subhuman or evil trait about them. It's just that they are a group of people that they're human. And Jews. And so obviously they do support Israel to a great extent. This is not even a conspiracy theory. You're such a fucking retard.
The Jews control the media.
Everything that you and him have said so far is true. Including what, like I said, what you said.
The Jews.
We do control
I'm
media.
so sick of people talking about the Jews.
I wake up every morning and
Oh my God.
Man, I honestly though, really, I wake up every morning and I think, man, I ain't got a chance in hell because the Jews are holding me down. You know? What's the point?
No, you goddamn moron. Literally, okay.
What's the point? What's the point?
Give me a break, bro. Fucking ridiculous. He's not coming.
You see how silly he sounds? He sounds like a black person on this app complaining about white people holding him down all day. A fucking lame ass. It's the whites holding me down. I ain't got a chance in hell. Just it's the white folk. That's what Pepe sounds like. It's just the Jews. Right. Fuck China. Fuck Russia. It's the Jews. It's just
all right.
2% of the population of the world.
Are you gonna shut your fucking nigger mouth?
Go ahead, Ben.
You know what? I can't believe it because the white people came to slavery 400 years ago. You know, I can't get a girlfriend because of white people that happened 400 fucking years ago.
Okay. All right. So now I have to now.
Disadvantage is you're black.
Yeah. Hold on. So we can look at people that imagine you live in a monolithic culture where everybody is the same race, the same religion, the same. Let's just say even hair and eye color and skin tone. Okay, you're going to have different dynamics. Some people are better looking. Some people are taller. Some people are smarter. Some people are more driven. And which inevitably some people are going to be more successful. All of that happens. Absolutely. Now, I'm not talking about individual failures or scapegoating Jews for shortcomings in people's lives. That's absolutely not what I'm talking about. But what I was talking about is that when it comes to Israel's role, and of course, Zionist role, okay, you this chimp can't control his mouth. Okay, when it comes to their role in trying to get America to go to war with Iran and kill Khomeini, that was absolutely 100% led by Zionists and Israel. Now, once again, that has nothing to do with individual shortcomings or why they sucked at math or science or anything like that, or getting bitches. Has nothing to do with that. But we're talking about contemporarily. Why did we go to war with Iran? It is extremely relevant. So that's not blaming the Jews. This is fucking retarded.
The Zionists, the Jews, everything. There's not.
So you guys want to troll and say that any criticism? No, you fucking chimp. All right. So no, I had to listen. No, I had to listen to you guys trying to say that, like, the obvious, despite what the New York Times, the Washington Post, despite what Marco Rubio said, Speaker Mike Johnson, despite what any of them said, Israel has nothing to do with the attack in Iran. No, what is really disingenuous is that when you have these conversations and people like to deflect and they try to make it personal, and what they do is they say, like, oh, you're just a Jew hater. You're just anti-Semitic. Oh, you are just a fucking incel. Oh, you just want to blame everybody else for your problems. Okay, and it's to whatever they are doing.
Do you mind if I respond
Yes.
to FFA when you're done, or are you done?
Sure. And so this is not only is it chicken shit and retarded, but this is like a very left-wing cancel culture type of bullshit. Like, you can criticize everybody. I mean, I thought right-wingers like myself, I thought that we were all about having open and fair and honest debate. But if you want to do these stupid fucking tactics, nobody's blaming. Nothing I've said here is blaming the Jews for our quality of life.
Yeah, the Jews.
For anything you said.
Okay, this is what I'm saying, bro. Listen, on the right, man, listen, I'm calling out the black people who fucking complain about white people holding them down. Don't you get how lame that sounds? Listen,
When did I say? No. You're conflating something. When did I say Zionists or Jews are holding us down? I never said that. No. I never said that. Okay, no, I never said that. What I said is that he was encouraging Trump. And of course, even online, we can look at Mark Levin, we can look at Ben Shapiro, we can look at Sachs, we can look at all of these fucking people who was encouraging us to go to war with Iran.
You mind if I respond to you finally?
Now that right there, that influence has nothing to do with how successful you are in your personal life. But what it does show is that there is political ones to attack Iran. And yes, ultimately, at the end of the day, Donald J. Trump has the autonomy to decide whether or not he's going to do that.
Is this
And
a
so,
Mind if I respond, please?
I'm getting bored.
Hold on here, hold on. Okay, because you interrupt me, man. You make me lose track here. So all I'm saying is, man, people on the right, fine. Like I say, to me, you sound like somebody who is. Anyway, I won't even say that because that's what you got. That's what got you set off. I will admit to you. Here's me being fair. I will admit to you that one of the reasons is Israel. Yes, they are one of our main allies. unlike Europe or Canada or Australia, we're a bunch of fucking cuck pussies. The Israelis actually know how to fight. They've been doing it for a while. They have the second most powerful air force. These dudes are willing to fucking stand with us here. So, and yeah, we will protect them. But also,
when did they start with us?
Brother, please stop. They're doing it right now.
No, they're not. We're standing with them.
Can you let me just
against
finish?
Dude,
I swear to God, you can't let people stop talk. It's retarded because you were so insecure. Bro, for real. Listen to me. I agree. Some of it is Israel, but also we have geopolitical things here, right? Not just not just Israel, but also Russia, China, our dollar that is facing collapse potentially, BRICS currency. You know what I'm saying here, bro? I know you're not that slow.
Okay, we all agree that Israel and the United States have converging interests. Sometimes we have diverging interests. Understand there are Jews that, in particular, and Christian Zionists that will insist that whatever Israel wants, Israel shall get. I look at things very differently. What is best for America? That is what I care about. Now, once again, we're talking about on a very large political level that involves the military and all of that stuff. That is very far removed from blaming Jews for personal setbacks or whatever stupid shit a lot of you were trying to come up with. That is not anything that I was insinuating. I do think that by and large Jews are successful in the United States because they're smart.
You keep repeating your
Shut up. They are smarter. Education is something that cannot be taken from them. Jews did not have, at least their ancestors did not have the easy life, which I think is a large contribution as to why they're maybe genetically, I would say they do so well. And so no, I'm not this is fucking retarded. I'm not. But I mean, politically, we all have our biases. That's fine. But what I get is this what is really fascinating is that I can push back against something. I was attacking Iran, and I can say, well, Israel kind of wanted us to do this, and it's somehow people will claim it's anti-Semitic and you're blaming Jews. That is fucking retarded. And we opinions on it, but at the end of the day, I'm not blaming the Russians or the Ukrainians for what's happening in my personal life. So with all of that being said, these stupid fucking asinine juvenile attacks, based on
let's reply.
Your stance. You're gonna shut your goddamn mouth. Okay, shut up. And so these juvenile attacks, based on your stance and trying to discredit people by, I don't know, just insulting them, this is fucking retarded. Nobody is saying that the quality of life or that your personal setbacks are because of Jewish influence or power.